Many students find it difficult to produce a trace. So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to look at, if we have an image like this, how do we get this picture to be able to trace it? There's so much going on. What can we do? How can we simplify the tracing environment so that we don't have too much detail in our trace? So because there's a fine balance between having not enough information on the trace and having too much information. So I'm going to just show you a very, very basic procedure, and hopefully you find this useful. So before I start, I'm just going to make a copy. So I'm going to go Control-C, Control-V, and then I'm just going to move a duplicate copy out the way, just in case I need the original. Okay, but in your case, you would probably save it. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the list of things that we have here, and there's one here which is called effects. So inside the effect category, there's many hundreds of effects that you can use. Sorry about this. Hold on, it won't take me a minute. Just let this job get finished. Cool. Okay, so there's many effects to choose from. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a gray scale. So I'm going to, on my keyboard, press G. It will jump to the G section. So you can see the first one is glass. And then I'm going to go along until I see gray scale. I'm going to select it and then click apply. And you will notice, let's choose this one here. You'll notice it goes grayscale straight away. Okay, so there we have a black and gray picture. There it is. And we could print it like that, and then try and make a trace from it. And we could be fairly successful by training our eye to be able to see the light pieces and the darker pieces and the very dark pieces. So we can train our eyes to see the light pieces, the lighter grays, the darker grays, dark grays, and then very dark grays or blacks. Okay, but to help us a little bit with that, we're going to try a few things. So the first thing that we're going to do, having used our grayscale, is we're going to use our special colorizing pen, which we have. So I'm going to go to the paint section, open up all the brushes. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this one in the middle, which says Colorize. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to look at the settings. So normally I have it on 60%. Currently it says 61. Let's just adjust it 60, but it doesn't really matter, around about 60%. And then I choose a large brush, and I like it to be fuzzy around the edges. And then here you have the size of the brush. So I like to make it as big as it can go. And now we're ready. So I'm just bringing your attention to the fact that I've chosen white. The brush is all set up, ready to go. And now I'm going to select Colorize brush. I'm going to click it down, and then I'm going to go over the entire picture. And you'll see I'm lightening it up. And I can even go behind the box. The box is not in the way, it doesn't worry the tool at all. And there we go. And then I'm going to repeat this process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose any other tool. It doesn't matter which one. That's the finger smudge tool. And I'm going to reselect the Colorize tool. And I'm going to do it a second time. Okay, so what this does is it really pulls a lot of the color out of the picture. Okay. So once you've got it to the right tone, and I think it's a bit light, so I'm going to undo that last one. So I think that was too far. I think this is pretty good. Okay, so then just below the brushes, okay, we have our effects, and this time we're going to look at the effect, which is the very first one. It says accents. So I'm going to choose that, and you'll see a tab appears which says details. If you open the details tab, you can play around with all of these figures. Well, I suggest you have a good go at it and find what's best for you. But as with all the tools I use, I like them to be at about 60%, 64, 3, 2, 1, whoops, too far. Okay, around about 60%. And then the edge width, I've got it set currently on 2. The edge brightness, I've got it set on 8. Don't worry about the pop-up boxes. And the smoothness I have set on 4. So with these being applied, watch what happens to the picture when I just click one button, apply. Okay, so now what you'll notice is that there's a whole bunch of details that weren't there before. So we now have white sections, we have gray sections, okay, and then we have the very dark sections are not lost. Okay, so we now have an ability to create a very good trace based on the shading of these various things. Even if we just zoom in a little bit and just have a look at the leopard spots, for example, you'll see now that the leopard spots actually have a gray section around each spot. So that it may be a dark black area, but that's not all it is. It has a shaded area all the way around, and then we have a lighter shading in between each one. So that is very, very important, what creates the effect of the leopard spots. So the leopard spots are not clean black circles. They have a shaded piece around each one. So that's quite important to look at. Okay, so you can see the difference between these two images. So if I mind this out the way, perhaps let's zoom it up a little bit. There we go. Let's go over a little bit. There we go. And you can see side by side the difference in the contrast of the two images. And perhaps this is helpful to you. There are other tools. As I said, there's many, many tools that we can utilize. And this one is fairly good. If you're not happy with this one, perhaps you should try the flocking tool. Flocking is used in quite a few tattoo studios. I'll just give you a quick demonstration of what the flocking tool can do. So if we bring this picture here and we bring up the flocking tool, here it's got a whole bunch of settings which I'm not going to play with in this video, but if you click apply, straight away you can see that it has some sort of an effect. Okay, if we undo that and make the background black and gray, so let's go to grayscale, apply. What I'm going to do is change this color, and I'm going to make it a gray like that, and then I'm going to go back to flocking and apply, and now you'll see a completely different effect and how the various elements have been cut out. So now there's a lot less information, and the difference between dark and gray are shown in a different type of detail. And again, it's up to you how you utilize this kind of information in your traces. But most tattoo artists train their eye and do their trace from the original picture. I hope that was helpful.